Hey guys, Cha-Chan here, and today's video, before we get started, I'd like to say toy customization is not for children. We use dangerous chemicals such as acetone, and Mr. Super Clear is a lacquer that can cause permanent eye damage and respiratory problems, so if you're a child, I highly recommend going and watching the YouTube Kids app rather than this video. With that out of the way, onto the video, yay! So as I just said, this is a toy custom, and I'm so excited. So today we are customizing Lucky Clover from My Little Pony, and I got this figure from a blind bag, but I didn't really like it that much, so I thought, why not turn it into my Ponysona? I'm taking my acetone and removing the factory paint. It didn't take very long, there were just the eyes and the cutie mark, so like 5 minutes with acetone there. And it wouldn't have mattered anyway since I'm painting over this entire figure. So I took it out and I gave it a spray of Mr. Super Clear and I started painting. Whenever I stop showing the blank figure. Okay, so I took my Winsor & Newton professional acrylic and I started painting with watered down acrylic. Gotta water it down to make sure those brush strokes don't show up as much. I noticed immediately that the paint wasn't clinging to the plastic, even though I had sprayed it with Mr. Super Clear, and I think that's because I only gave it one spray, but because it wasn't really working, I decided to wipe off the paint I had put down, and then give it a bit of a sand with some sandpaper, also to try and get rid of some of the seam lines. I mean, I didn't do that great of a job, but yeah, I don't really have much range of different grits of sandpaper, so there's a couple of little lumps and bumps here and there, but overall, it's okay. So, I guess I should talk a little bit about what we're turning this character into. I think I mentioned that it's going to be my Ponysona, and my Ponysona is a Shetland pony, which is also an earth pony, judging by the sculpt of this character. Anyway, so a Shetland pony, if you don't know, is a very short horse, a very small horse, and they were bred to go into the mines to help carry things, like tools and also like stuff they've just taken out of the mine, like coal or whatever. I don't know what they were mining around these parts. I come from what used to be a mining village, so if I were to go down onto the fell, which is like moor, grasslands, I guess, it's just all like, well, it's not all, there's quite a lot of mine shafts that have been filled in. Some of them are more safe than others, but you know, as long as you don't walk over them, you're fine. So, the first layer of colour was done after like 5 layers of white acrylic paint. It didn't need to be perfect since I'm doing a few layers of the base colour of the fur anyway. The first colour for the fur I mixed was a little bit too dark. I'm not really that great at using acrylics, I don't use them very often. The thing with acrylics is they dry darker than you mixed them, so it's a bit difficult sometimes to make sure your colours are correct, but I tried my best. I will say I edited this video very real-timey. I mean, I tried to make it interesting. I hope you don't get bored, but I'm not gonna blame you if you want to skip around and see what's happening. So here I am painting the more revised colour of the fur. I honestly didn't really know what colours I was gonna do my Ponysona when I designed her. She was just kind of a spontaneous, I'm gonna use these colours, and it kind of stuck. I think they suit her. Have I mentioned my Ponysona's name? My Ponysona is called Moss Trot. I don't know why, I just kind of thought it would suit her. I might change the name, but for now that's the name I've given her. I was trying to think of something that would go with the cutie mark, but the cutie mark is a bone and a pencil, and I don't really think those words combined sound very fun, you know? Honestly, I was so lucky that I was able to get this particular sculpt. My Ponysona, I like to draw her with her hooves a different colour to the rest of the body, unlike most of the characters such as like Pinkie Pie or any of the main six, to be honest, where the legs are all one solid colour, if that makes sense. The hooves aren't distinguished from the legs. Am I making any sense? Anyway, I draw my Ponysona with like the floof around the ankles. So after I finished the body colour, I started painting the mane and the tail. A nice bright, not so bright actually, a nice earthy green colour. Green used to be my favourite colour when I was little. Nowadays I think it's purple, but I don't know, I like all colours. I had to do so many layers on the mane and the tail. I didn't film half of the layers because it was just ridiculous how many layers I had to do. Even now it's not perfect, but I didn't want to keep going and make it look bad or anything, so it's fine. So for painting the body and the tail, I used synthetic brushes, but when I got to the hooves, I decided to switch to my tiniest brush, which also happens to be a sable hair brush. However, I think that worked quite well since I was using watercolours for the hooves. I just tried to get as thick of a watercolour as I could, so I just massaged the watercolour with the water on the brush, and I wiped off as much excess as I could as well, so it was like pure watercolour paste, if that makes sense. And it was kind of difficult because I had the same problem of the paint not wanting to stick to the plastic, so it took a few layers, but I got there in the end. It was very tedious though, like very tiny details, and I didn't want to accidentally coat the fur colour. Like, I wasn't sure if I had much of the mixture left from 2 days ago. Yes, this painting took me like a few days. I spent maybe about a week painting this figure, so not a quick project, surprisingly, for how little it is. Then again, it is my first attempt, and I'm sure I'll speed up as I keep doing this. I have a huge stash of dolls that I need to repaint. I'm so excited, I cannot wait to make YouTube videos of customizations of dolls and toys. I just love that kind of stuff. I've been watching Delightful and Hixgen and Doll Motion for the past few years? Yeah. So I'm so happy I finally managed to do my own toy custom on this channel. So yeah. As this dries, let's go for a walk outside. Being sniffed. I hope you enjoyed that little walk down the fell. I tried to show you a couple of the mine shafts and the quarry, and also I got to pet a horse. It was so cute. So I hope you enjoyed that little video editing clip. And now I'm going to sketch on the eyes. I decided to show you the entire sketching the base of the eyes. Does that make sense? I decided to show that in real time. Obviously I cut bits out so it wasn't all a long boring bit of footage, I hope. If you do get bored, I'm not gonna blame you. Feel free to skip ahead a little bit if you want. But yeah, I'm using 2 different types of coloured pencils for the eyes. Here I'm using a Bic Conte, which is a regular coloured pencil, I think it's a resin-based lead. Honestly, I really recommend these pencils, they are so good, and they're pretty cheap as well. I think you can buy a pack of 28 for about £8, £7 or £8 on Amazon. I think the 12 pack is about £5. I got my 12 pack a few years ago now, back in France, and I think I only paid €4, which at the time was only £2, so that was pretty good. Obviously nowadays things are going up in price pretty rapidly, but we're not going to go into all of that because that's pretty depressing. The other pencils I use are the Reeves watercolour pencils. I don't know how much they cost or where you could get them. I'm sure you could just buy them online, but I got this pack years and years ago, like almost 10 years ago, from my cousin as a birthday present or a Christmas present, I can't remember. But I used to use exclusively these pencils to draw with, until I got my Copic markers, which I used to use constantly, but right now I do mostly digital art. Hopefully I'll get back into doing more traditional stuff soon, yeah. When designing my Sona's eyes, I wanted to do something very big and like bright and bubbly in a way. The eyelashes I wanted to be very like round at the top, and they've got two little eyelashes on the bottom. I think they're kind of inspired by the Shopkins eyes. I love the eyes on Shopkins. They are so cute. If you haven't seen Shopkins, they're just another toy line. They're pretty cute. I love the dolls from Shopkins. I actually have 2 dolls of Shopkins, but I'm going to repaint them since they are second-hand. Hopefully, once I'm set up upstairs, because if you don't know, I'm trying to get my work area set up upstairs rather than working from the living room, I'll be able to do more toy customizations and better setup rather than just this. I'm sorry I couldn't do any different camera angles, not that it really needed it. Yeah, I'm rambling. Okay, what can I say? So, I think I did 2 layers of pencils on the eyes with Mr. Super Clear sprayed in between them, and then I moved over to acrylics because it was going to take forever to get the right colour build up with the watercolour pencils, and I don't think it ever would have. I mean, the black got pretty close, I didn't need to do much with the black, but for the white I had to use acrylic. Oh, I'm sketching the cutie mark now. My cutie mark is based on things that I love doing. I have a pencil for art. The art kind of encompasses the fursuit making and the sewing as well, in my mind. And then a bone because I love taxidermy, if you don't know that. I mention it pretty much every video because it's like my hobby. It's not something I want to turn into work, but I do occasionally sell things or take commissions to mount insects in frames. If you are interested in getting a bug in a frame, feel free to message me, I can try and help you with that. But yeah. So that's the reasoning behind my cutie mark. Honestly, I'd love to make a couple more Ponysonas based on my other interests, which also fall under the art category, to be honest, but other things I love are toys. I love toys so much. I have started collecting toys again. I used to collect Pokemon toys, but now I collect a variety of toys. It's fun, but it's not good for my wallet. So to paint all of these tiny little details, I had my tiniest little brush that I was using to paint the hooves with. As I said, it's a sable hairbrush. I don't like to use synthetic brushes unless I have to. I don't mind it if it's painting like washes, so I was fine using those blue handle brushes that are synthetic. That was fine for painting the body, but if I was going to do like a watercolour painting, I wouldn't want to use them for that. But that's just personal preference. I've said this a few times before, but when I used to do watercolour painting a lot, when I was younger and was still getting used to it and how everything worked with art supplies, I didn't know why I wasn't enjoying watercolours until I tried a sable hairbrush and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so much better. Anyway, I should mention, I sketched in my cutie mark with pencils, but then the colours were just, it was a yellow pencil, and if you've used Mr. Super Clear before, you know it just dulls down any bright light colours. So I decided to just go in with the acrylics, paint over the pencil, and paint it yellow. Though first I do a couple more things on the eyes, like painting the iris green, and I didn't actually film painting in the little catch lights because it was just so tiny and delicate, you know. I did film doing one of the little catch lights at the bottom, but that was about it. I didn't even film the entire process. What I did after painting one of the little white strips at the bottom is I went over it with green acrylic again to make it green, you know. And then the colour above was just a mix of white and green. And that was it for the eyes. Yeah, pretty simple. But they took quite a lot of fiddling around. Soon I'd love to incorporate more toy related things on this channel. Not too much, I don't want to deviate too far from my content that I usually produce, which is speed paints, or yeah, pretty much just speed paints. But I would like to have more interesting content rather than the same speed paints every single time, you know? So maybe some art challenges, but also I would love to be able to do more toy related things such as toy repaints, though I will have to be careful with the new rules here on YouTube. If you know about that, it's pretty easy. I made a couple of videos on it, but yeah, it's pretty much sorted now. Toy customization videos are considered fine, and we don't have to worry about it being restricted with all those new rules. So I should be okay doing toy related things as long as there's some form of customization in there, or I just say a bunch of swear words, which I don't really want to do. I found it a little bit challenging working on such a tiny 3D surface. I haven't done much work on painting models ever. I don't even sculpt very often anymore. I used to sculpt a lot. When I was younger, I used to sit and make little figures and paint them, and it was so fun. I'd love to do more sculptures again. I did actually sculpt a ball jointed doll, so maybe I should finish that up and paint it and have a video around that. It'll be a lot of work, but it should be worth it. Or maybe I'll just start from scratch again. We're almost done with this custom. I'm just painting in the eyes, just the irises to make them a bit darker. And as I said, I didn't film painting the catch lights in because it was just a very tiny detail that I didn't want to mess up. Also, it was a nightmare getting in frame for this video. I was terrified I was going to be out of frame for the entire thing. Also, keeping it in focus was a bit difficult. Probably should have turned off autofocus. Anyway, we are almost done, and just a couple more details here and there, like painting in the eyelashes, and then Moss Trot is done. Here's a photo shoot, hopefully, if the weather is nice. here she is. I think she turned out super cute, especially for my first ever toy custom. I mean, I did actually start customizing a Bratz doll once, but I never finished it, so we'll ignore that. But for my first toy custom that I finished, I think she turned out really well. She's not perfect, but it's okay. I love her. Please feel free to let me know in the comments what you think of this video, or if you want to see more videos like this, or different videos, what kind of content you want to see from me. Because this is what I do full time, with the art and the more art. So I really want to make sure that I am making content that people want to see. So yeah. I'm slowly getting better at video editing. My scripts are obviously not very good yet. I'll get better, I promise. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Links to all of my social media and shops are in the description. Commissions are open as usual, feel free to message me. And yeah, hope to see you in the next one. Bye!